Guys, hello, welcome to your Dine at Home cook along video. Back from our holiday of last week doing the barbecue, so thank you very much for purchasing the box this week and upon our return. Next week we'll be away as well. We're doing a pop-up next week here at Dine. I think we sold out on the Saturday, but there's still some room left on the Friday if you are interested at all. And I'll make sure I put the menu all up on the social medias next week. So, but on with this week, delicious menu, really seasonal. The tomatoes that have come in this week are absolutely phenomenal. We've got some beautiful heritage tomatoes from Isle of Wight, and they are super sweet, really in season now. So this menu really is bang in season. So your first taster, as always, guys, for your Dine at Home box is our bread. This week we've gone with a complete white sort of country, we call it a country loaf. Beautiful, delicious, again treated exactly the same way, into your oven, 180 degrees for 5 minutes. Now crisp up all the outside. When you tear it, all that steam will come out, absolutely delicious. And then equally the Marmite butter that obviously we always serve with our boxes. Just keep that at room temperature, guys, so it's nice and soft when you come to have your bread. Okay, so for your starter, guys, we have in fact the starters for both vegetarian as well as the normal menu is exactly the same, other than obviously the inside of the fritter. So we have a delicious cod and chorizo fritter, which I'll pull up for you. They are quite firm because, to be fair, it's about 50. It literally is about 35–40% cod, about 20 to 30% chorizo, and then just topped it with a little bit of potato. So it's super delicious. And they are coated in a beautiful panko breadcrumb. And then the vegetarian version is exactly the same, but with potato, wild garlic, and some peas and sweet corn through there as well. There is your pot of tomatoes. So you have a load of sort of datterinha tomatoes, plum tomatoes, beef tomatoes. There's an array of delicious tomatoes, and I've kept them. I have it on the menu. I think I put marinated, but because the chorizo oil is so delicious and flavoursome, I haven't wanted to sort of change the marination too much at all. So I just left them completely raw because the tomatoes speak for themselves and just need sort of a last minute sort of seasoning. So which I'll go through obviously when we come to plate it, and then a delicious vibrant herb emulsion, which is essentially it's a mixture of different herbs made into an oil and then made into a mayonnaise. So there's dill, parsley, chive, and wild garlic that have gone into there as well. So again, for your vegetarian, instead of the chorizo oil, you will have a delicious paprika oil, and then instead of obviously your cod and chorizo cake, you will have a beautiful potato and wild garlic cake, but treated exactly the same. So I'm going to pop this into the oven. Make sure it's thoroughly heated because it does contain obviously cooked fish and cooked chorizo, but we do need to reheat it to the maximum. So I'm going to pop that in for about 7 to 8 minutes, just so it heats through deliciously. Leave my tomatoes out, and same with the oil and the emulsion. And join me in 8 minutes once that's nice and hot, and I'll go through the plating with you. Okay, guys, so my 8-minute timer has just gone off in the oven, so I'm going to get my cod fritter. So 8 minutes in that oven is absolutely perfect. We'll start to see some of the excess oil that's just sort of draining off the fish cake itself. On the instructions I've put, you can just dab it on some little kitchen towel or some J-cloth if you've got it. But to be fair, I'm actually quite surprised. Obviously, it's the first time we've reheated it, and there's barely any excess oil at all in it. So I think that's absolutely perfect. So pop that on. Again, do your old trusted test. If you've got a little kebab skewer or just a very thin knife, pop that straight through the middle. Give it a little test on the bottom lip. Make sure it's nice and warm and nice and hot. If that's the case, obviously we'll go ahead and plate it. If it's not, just pop it back in. It won't change its dynamic at all. It'll stay exactly the same. Just obviously make sure it's nice and hot. So there we are, guys. There's your mixed tomatoes. They've all been cut into different sort of shapes and sizes for you. So I said, there's some absolute stunning tomatoes in that wild heritage mix. There's your chorizo dressing. Like I said on the instructions, make sure you give it a nice mix, and also don't be shy with it as well, because it's sort of doubling up as a sauce slash dressing. So we're not just coating the tomatoes, we actually want them fully marinated and dressed in that beautiful chorizo, and the smells coming up are absolutely delicious. A little bit of salt because we haven't seasoned them at all as of yet. A little bit of pepper. I would actually recommend white pepper if you are going to use pepper. We haven't got any here, but it is absolutely delicious with tomatoes. But black pepper works just as well. And then place your beautiful croquette or your fritter on the side. I've got some leftover herb emulsion in a piping bag, so I'm going to leave that for you guys. I'm just going to pipe a nice dollop of herb emulsion, basically right on the end. And again, with the herb emulsion, I'll give you a really good portion. So again, don't be shy with that. It's almost acts as a sauce again for this. And with your tomatoes and your beautiful oil, just sort of artistically size those up. Kind of smells absolutely unreal. All you can smell is just a beautiful sort of deep sort of smoked paprika from the chorizo. It's absolutely delicious. And then just as a finale, a little bit more of that oil, just sort of dotted in and around the plate, just a nice fleck of colour. Yeah, it's got a beautiful spice to it as well, that chorizo has. And there we are, guys. This is bang in season, bang on summer as well, to be fair, just approaching the summer months. Beautiful fritter of cod with chorizo and some potato, and then your salad of olive white heritage tomatoes. We've been dressed in a beautiful roasted chorizo oil, and then your mixed herb and mushroom. There's your starter, guys. Hope you enjoy, and join me for after that for the main course of chicken. Guys, hope you enjoyed your starter. I thought the chorizo oil was like the marriage for everything, and that started went really well with the tomatoes as well. So hopefully you enjoyed it. For your main course, we have some lovely poached organic chicken. There's obviously two. I'll just be cooking one breast. There are some ones as well, so if you half and half or a three, then we have actually singly done them. For some reason I've just got a double for the video. You've also got some confit potatoes. It's the first time we've done them for Dine at Home, which have essentially just been actually confit these have been cooked in chicken fat. If they're vegetarian, they've been done in a Spanish extra virgin olive oil. It's absolutely delicious. We simply just peel them, cut them out, and then we just cook them at a real low temperature in some oil, and that's it, or some chicken fat in this case. So when you do reheat them, I've sort of on the instructions I've tended to say no colour. If you would like to heat them up with the chicken, you're more than welcome to. I said on the instructions I just pop them onto the same tray as the chicken and pop them through the oven. But if you do want to add colour, simply roast in the same pan as your chicken. It's totally up to you. Along with that is some char grilled courgette. So you're doing your one half piece char grilled, and then dressed in a little bit of maple syrup and some white sesame seeds, which again is just a simple reheat through the oven with the chicken and potatoes. A beautiful roasted courgette puree. Again, it is like an off sort of green colour simply because we've roasted it quite heavily. That's the same for both. Delicious chicken sauce. This is obviously for the meat option, which you finish with a little douse of cream. And then here is a beautiful creamed spiced carrot sauce. This is for your vegetarian menu. This is absolutely delicious, that is. Back to the chicken dish, we've got some beautiful chicken and wild garlic crumble, which again is for the dish. And then for both, we have a beautiful salsa verde, like a pesto, like a wild garlic pesto, sorry. This does contain pine nuts, so please be careful with that. And to finish off the vegetarian dish, or the main element, is a beautiful carrot, feta, and courgette phyllo tart, which is absolutely delicious. I would recommend serving it that way up, but just be careful because they've all been baked there, so that's quite blonde underneath, so make sure that goes onto a tray. You can reheat it either way, but if I was you, I'd serve it that way up so it looks a lot neater. So that is it, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continually show you the meat option, which is obviously the chicken. So I'll just discard the beautiful spiced carrot cream and equally the phyllo parcel. I will very carefully open the backpack bag. Just at the top, nice sharp knife. I'm just going to take one out because I'm not going to cook both of them. What I will take out is just some of the aromats as well. So there's a bit of garlic in there, and also a little bit of thyme. And it is obviously poached in oil, so again, just be careful of the excess oil in there, and then any of the sort of protein that cooks out of it as well, you can get that to one side. So I'm just going to put my thyme and my garlic to one side. And this is a skinless breast, super easy to reheat. And then what I'm going to do on this tray, just to make it easy for us when we do reheat, I'm going to put my courgette on there very carefully. I'm also going to put my potato on there. Now, the courgettes have been seasoned, as have the potatoes, but they've been seasoned in the bag. We're just going to add a little bit of seasoning on top of the potato now, just because obviously it's a big element and we can't really season the inside of it. So I'm just going to add a little bit of salt on top of there, and then a little bit of salt on top of the courgette. There we are. And now we're going to roast the chicken breast. Okay, so come along. pans on. I'm just going to do a touch of oil in there as well. And I'll take about a minute to heat up. I'm going to bring my tray over. It's all ready to go. And set yourself up as well, guys. So I've got a little pot of butter here, which I'm also going to just add into the pan once the chicken has started to obviously roast. Pop that at the back. I've popped my sauce in my pan already, but it's not on heat. I'm going to leave that there. A little bit of seasoning on the chicken because it hasn't been seasoned as of yet. As I always like pepper with chicken, but again, white pepper would again work really, really well with the chicken, potentially better than the black pepper. Okay, so potatoes ready, all seasoned. Courgette ready, all seasoned. Just need to pop into the oven. My oven's on. Perfect. Pan's on with the chicken. Oil starting to run quite loosely, so I think we are ready to colour it. So I'm going to simply, away from me, there's no right way, there's normally a fillet on the bottom, which you can just see is starting to break away. So I'd recommend this as your presentation side. So I'm just going to pop that down, which I've seasoned, straight into a pan. Pop a little bit of salt, pepper on top. And we're going to simply just colour it in the oil. So it will start to colour straight away, as you can see. And then knock that down. And we're literally just keep control of it. Get nice caramelised on both sides. As soon as it's nicely caramelised on both sides, that's when I'm going to add the butter, the thyme and the garlic. As soon as that's done, I'm just going to baste it over very, very gently, pop it onto my tray, and then transfer all that to the oven between 7 to 8 minutes. So join me after it's caramelised, when I'm just about to put the butter in, just to show you that, and then we're going to transfer it into the oven. So I'll see you in about 2 minutes. Okay, so both sides are caramelised now, as you can see. Nice and caramelised on top, nice and caramelised on the bottom as well. Okay, so we're going to add a little, literally just 2 knobs of butter, that's it. That'll start melting straight away. Reason for this, we're adding flavour. We're also adding that little bit of colour as well. So as the butter starts to burn away, it starts to go a little bit darker. It starts to also create that effect on the chicken as well. So tilt it away, get it all nice and melted. You're seasoning that butter and flavouring that butter with the garlic and thyme. And then very, very gently, stop the heat, baste it, right? Tip it towards you, and very gently just baste the chicken. Super simple. You can see that the burn noisette, the brown butter which is there, starting to colour that chicken as well. Absolutely beautiful. And equally it's starting to heat it all around the outside as well. So we're fast tracking the whole dish. Okay, so a little bit of butter on top. Make sure you pop your garlic and also the thyme because that's going to continue to flavour it. Pop that in there. A little bit on top of your potato. That's not necessary. Just a little cheeky addition. And then with that tray, pop that into the oven, which is going to be preheated. 180 degrees between sort of 6 to 8 minutes, depending on how hot your oven is. I know it doesn't sound very hot. All we're doing is reheating it. It's already cooked, so we're just reheating it. So literally 6 to 7 minutes, that'll be hot in this oven. At home, if you need to, if you need to go a little bit longer, so 8 to 9 minutes, absolutely fine. Just don't overcook it, because we just want to cook it. We don't want to cook it. All right. So seriously, 6 to 7 minutes, and I will bring it out and we'll plate and enjoy. And we'll go into the dessert. Okay guys, so my timer has just gone up on the oven. That was, so it was 7 to 8 minutes. So we'll get it out. Beautiful sizzle, as you can see. So everything's obviously exactly the same. So the courgette is fully cooked, nice and soft, it's still got a nice little bit of texture. So then the potato hasn't coloured at all, but around the outside it's got a little bit crispier. And then obviously, as you can see, the chicken is coloured up beautifully. And we'll equally need a little bit of a rest. So I'm going to place that there. Just have a little rest, and we're going to reheat my courgette puree in the microwave, and also I've put my sauce and my pan on, but I'm going to put that in to reheat it now as well. Your crumble and your pesto is at room temperature, so they're all out ready to go. So join us after I've heated this up, heated my sauce up, and we'll be ready to plate. Okay guys, so it's been about 2 minutes. All my stuff's reheated now, so my puree is ready to go. Chicken's had a nice little rest. My courgette and potatoes are still really nice and hot, and then my sauce has come up to the heat as well. So I'm all ready to plate. So I'm going to take the rested chicken breast and pop that onto my board, and we'll just sort of take that into it. I mean, you can obviously serve it like that, it's absolutely fine, but I'm just going to carve it into something a little bit neater. And then with your potatoes, which they're nice and hot, and your courgettes, they're all ready to go. In the instructions guide, I've sort of put that you sort of, I think pesto, or more so wild garlic, but pesto is literally one of my favourite things. Obviously it goes really, really well with, with chicken. But it creates a really good base to this particular dish. And I'd recommend sort of if you want to ensure that you're getting that flavour with every single mouthful. So the best way of doing that is literally spooning it like I'm spooning, and then plating almost the whole entire dish pretty much on top or just around it. So be as neat as you possibly can with your pesto, and then instead of plate, you have a little crispy bit on the bottom of your potato, which looks really nice actually. And plate pretty much everything, not so much on or off, just sort of in and around the chicken, the pesto. With the chicken, I'm just going to carve it a little bit differently. Carve it right down the middle. Super hot. Really, really warrants that rest as well. So I always say that it's super, super juicy because we've poached it before. You're just reheating it and finishing it off, but you're not intensively heating it. It really warrants. You can see that beautiful juice in between. Every single one of yours will be just like that. If you ensure that you cook it exactly the same way. And don't reheat it for too long. So the wild garlic chicken skin crumble just on top, just like that, and we'll just that adds that sort of texture that you miss, that you're missing essentially with removing the chicken skin from the breast. That's to one side, super green, and then finally we'll just put right at the bottom a nice dollop of this beautiful rich courgette puree. Quite healthy with that, to be fair. You probably don't need quite as much as I've given you. Again, just on and off the dish either side, and we'll finish that off. So you spring on a plate. And we'll finish that off with the beautiful chicken sauce. That again will marry so well with that pesto. Almost splits the dish itself. Just like that, beautiful. And there's this week's main course, guys. Poached and roasted chicken with a beautiful wild garlic pesto, confit potato, charcoal courgette dressed in maple and sesame, and then your broccoli puree. Finished off with beautiful chicken sauce and chicken and wild garlic crumble. Guys, enjoy that. And after that, join me for the main course, for the dessert. Okay, guys. So hopefully you enjoyed your main course. And we are now on to dessert. So we've got a beautiful, another first actually, we've got a beautiful orange and frangipane tart. In the bottom you've got like a marmalade sort of compote, and then you've got a beautiful almond and orange zest frangipane on top, and you've got a beautiful comfy orange slice on top of that as well. And I'm just absolutely delighted. First time we've made these, absolutely delighted how they've come out, super delicious. I would highly recommend popping them back in the oven for about 4 to 5 minutes, just to loosen all that frangipane and heat it all through, and it'll go so well with the garnish, which is a beautiful marmalade ice cream, which again, guys, you'll get into your little containers. This is for one person, so a nice little marmalade ice cream in there. Make sure you bring that out so it's nice and soft, you don't want it too sort of icy and hard. And you've got a beautiful creme anglaise, which has been seasoned. You'll probably see a load of orange zest on the bottom, seasoned with orange zest and some vanilla. So make sure you give that a nice sort of mix. And a beautiful almond and demerara sugar crumble, which is quite sweet. And that's it. And then you've obviously got your tart. So with the tart, what I'm going to do is obviously you put it into the oven for a good 4 to 5 minutes. For the sake of the video, I'm just going to plate it almost straight away. I think it just makes sense to do that. With your tart, put it to the left hand side of the plate, and then nice and small plate, and then put your almond crumble. And don't be shy with that. I'm going to sort of see that and make sure you taste it as well. That's to the side. For the benefit of the video, I'm just going to pop a nice little rocher of ice cream on there, as opposed to the scoop that I've done for you. I can use that for you guys. Do a nice little scoop of ice cream if it eventually comes off. Just getting that around. Just gets the tail off. Oh, there we are, just about on. Put that little clip on the side. Beautiful. And then, as I said, guys, with your creme anglaise, I haven't been shy with this, to be fair. There's a fair lot of it in there. Give it a nice mix, so you make sure you get all that orange zest in the beautiful. So creme anglaise is traditionally a bit thinner, obviously than custard. I'll spoon it on actually, and then just off the tart, make sure that creme anglaise is going all on top as well. Wow, delicious. And there we are, guys. That is your grand finale. Beautiful orange and frangipane tart with marmalade ice cream, almond and demerara crumble, finished off with your beautiful orange scented creme anglaise. Enjoy, guys. Finish off with your beautiful Dine at Home fudge. Mikey's gone way big on the portion, so you've got absolutely loads there if you've got room for it. Must be his friends eating. And yeah, join us, guys. For next week we have got a pop-up. The week after that we've also got a barbecue. So we won't be here for a couple of weeks, and still undecided if we're going to sort of mix it up a little with the boxes. So keep tuned on all our social medias. And hopefully you enjoyed your box this week, and keep tagging us in all your lovely pictures and your recreations. And we'll see you again very, very soon, guys. Stay safe and please, yeah, eat well, guys. So see you in a couple of weeks.